Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is Chapter 7 of Chance Ball, and this one is titled A Night Together. Here is just a polite warning before we start. There is a scene in this chapter that I've had to skip quite heavily over, but as you all know, the completed book without any of the scenes being chopped out can be found on my Quirky Fanfics website. The link is free from my Patreon. Patreon is the same name as here, MLB224 Fanfics. Free to join to get to the website to read the scenes that have been taken out. If you dare. I should add that in, if you dare. Okay, so without further ado, let's keep going on the chapter. Every freaking time, you thought, I'm powerless against him. He pinned your arms to your side and kissed the nape of your neck as he slid one hand up and took a hold of your chin, tilting your head away so he had better access to your neck. You relaxed into his touch and moaned lightly as he moved your body how he wanted to. Good girl, he purred. He kissed just under your ear, then onto your earlobe, enjoying the sighs that escaped your lips. Dabi, how do you have such control over me instantly? You breathed as he ran his other hand over the front of your pants and gently rubbed between your legs. You bit your bottom lip and whimpered. What did I say about holding back? Dabi whispered in your ear. I want to hear you. You nodded and groaned in pleasure as he changed up the pressure with his fingertips. Suddenly he stopped and released you. You want some food? I made something for you. What? You asked, confused and breathless as he spun around and roundhouse kicked him in the backside. Bitch, you cannot do that to me, you yelled, launching yourself at him and tackling him to the ground. Dabi found it all very amusing and was laughing uncontrollably. He stumbled forwards and fell as you landed on his back, coughing slightly from the force of your impact. I'm sorry. I just couldn't resist, he wheezed out. Here, look, I made something for you, he said, still chuckling. He crawled to his bag and pulled out some cupcakes. I made these for you, he said, turning around and handing them to you with a grin on his face. I'm not touching those. You've probably laced them with drugs, you sadist, you snapped. Oh, come on. As if I'd do that, he replied. You shot a look at him that screamed, I don't believe you. Here, he said, waving the container at you. You eyed him dubiously and reluctantly took the container from his hand. The look of delight in his eyes was almost endearing, like a child showing his mother a painting he had done at preschool. You sat back and looked them over. God, Yin, they're frickin' cupcakes, not hand grenades. Just eat one for crying out loud, he said, rolling his eyes. You opened the container and took one out, and he eyed you as he looked it over. You took a tentative bite. Wait, that's actually really good, you said, taking a bigger bite this time. What did I tell you? He said smugly, as he sat back and watched you enjoy his cooking, and then looked out at the view with a satisfied sigh. Drugs will kick in soon, he said suddenly, nonchalantly. You turned and spat the cupcake at him. The heck? I'm kidding, he screeched, jumping up and flicking the mashed cupcake off his top. Serves you right, asshole, you said, very satisfied with yourself. Dabi turned and grabbed you, lying you down and pinning you under him on the ground. He kissed you roughly, forcing his tongue into your mouth while you squirmed and pushed him off. Yeah, that is a good cupcake, he said, licking his lips. Ew, you're disgusting, you snorted, wrinkling your nose at him. I love you too, baby, he replied with a wink. We should start making tracks soon, so enjoy the rest of the cupcake, then we'll get going. He stood up and stretched, admiring the view while you watched him, your eyes travelling over his physique. How did I ever fall for this asshole? You asked yourself while you smiled internally. Dabi, where the hell are we? You asked for the 5th time in a row. Just keep walking, he said, leading from the front. It's not much further. We're lost, aren't we? You said, unease creeping into your voice. You had gotten back onto the trail after stopping to check out the view and had followed it for a few minutes before taking a left turn at the fork in the track. We should have turned right, you sighed. We'll keep going for a bit longer. If we don't see them, then we can turn back, Dabi said over his shoulder. Do you even care? You're so relaxed about this. Wait, did you plan this? You said accusingly. Of course I plan this. I plan everything, Dabi replied sarcastically. I didn't. Don't worry. But you're with me, right? We'll be fine. You walked on a little longer, and then Dabi looked at his watch. Oh, didn't realise the time, he said. What? Well, wait. So now what? We have to camp out in the middle of nowhere, you replied in terror. By ourselves, in the bush? You were starting to panic. Hey, whoa, calm down, Dabi said, turning and grabbing you into a warm hug. "You're with me, aren't you? We'll be fine." "How are you so calm about this?" you replied, your voice shaking slightly. "Wait, are you actually scared?" Dabi asked, moving your fringe so he could look into your eyes. He didn't realise that this was causing you to panic. He thought you were acting. He saw the fear in your eyes and held you close again. "Don't stress, baby. I got you. I've done this type of thing before," he said softly as he kissed your forehead. Dabi had a calming effect over you. He could get under your skin, turn you on, and then ease your fears. When did he get to have such a strong hold over you? You snapped out of your own thoughts. "What, camp in the middle of nowhere?" you asked, looking at him. "Yeah, actually," he said almost sheepishly. All right." You made a mental note to quiz him on it later. So what now?" "Now we find a good place for the night, like that rock overhang over there," he said, pointing to a hill nearby. There was a flat rock with another rock overhanging that one that would protect from the elements. Dabi took your hand and led you over to the rock. "So this is our home?" he sang. You shook your head with a smirk and dropped your bag onto the rock, looking around. "You chill here. I'll just grab some kindling for a fire," Dabi said, wandering off the side of the rock. You sat down and took a few deep breaths. "This'll be fine. It's okay. We'll be fine," you mentally chanted. You turned to your bag and pulled out the lightweight sleeping bag that you'd brought with you, and reached into Dabi's bag, pulling out his and lying them side by side. "Oh my goodness, sleeping next to Dabi all night?" you thought with an excited yet nervous look on your face. "Want to help me stack them?" Dabi said, appearing with a massive armload of sticks. "Where the heck did you get all those?" you asked with surprise. He laughed. "Dude, we're in the bush. Where do you think I got them from, my ass?" You grunted with amusement and stacked them while Dabi went to his bag to grab some paper and a lighter. "Look at us, hey? Professionals," Dabi commented proudly later, grinning and looking around at his surroundings from where he was lying on his side on the sleeping bag. The sleeping bags were laid out, area cleaned as best you could, and fire was lit and burning nicely. You were preparing food, and Dabi was, well, watching you. "You're going to be the best wife," he said, smirking at you from where he lay on his side. "What if I want to be the husband in the relationship?" you asked cheekily. "No, because that's my job. I'm the husband and you're my wife," he said. You averted your eyes bashfully from his forwardness. Is he really seriously thinking about marriage already? He rolled over onto all fours and crawled over to you, his eyes glazed over with that familiar look of lust. "Hey, whoa, boy, hold on," you laughed, seeing that carnal look in his eye. "Why?" he asked slowly as he crawled up and over to you, pushing you back on the ground. His lips were on yours instantly, and you kissed him back roughly, your tongues intertwining as you locked in a passionate battle. He let out a small sigh and scooped an arm behind you to pull you under him, pushing his hips into you, causing you to let out a light moan as he tilted your head back. "Yes, baby," he purred, kissing your exposed neck. "Wait, you're just going to leave me hanging again, aren't you?" you said suddenly, pushing off him and pouncing on top of him. "I'm in charge now." "Oh, are you?" he asked slyly, placing his hands up behind his head and settling back. "Go on then, take control," he said as he smirked mischievously. "Fine, I will," you said, blushing and pausing. He rolled over and kissed you deeply. "You're so sexy, with your faux innocence and inexperience. I've never met anyone like you before," he said, giving you a little kiss on your nose. "What's that supposed to mean?" you asked defensively, pulling your pants up as he sat up. "Oh, don't get me wrong," he said, trying to reassure you. "You already know I've been with a lot of girls." You rolled your eyes and scowled. "What, you don't like that?" he asked, changing subjects quickly. "No, I don't," you replied, crossing your arms. "Why?" he asked as he finished cleaning himself up and pulling his pants on. "Just because," you said, realizing the reasons that you didn't like it was because of one of two things. One, there were probably past girlfriends of his that he liked better than you, and two, it just showed how inexperienced you were compared to his other girlfriends. How did you compare to them? You sucked, right? You lowered your head and averted your eyes, feeling very vulnerable. "Yin?" he asked from a very close range. Your head snapped up and your nose nearly brushed his. He had dropped down onto all fours and was right in front of you. He stared deeply into your eyes, reading your emotions. He glanced at your lightly quivering lips and closed the gap, his lips pressing against yours, warm and comforting. You pulled him into you and lay back with him on top. "Why don't you like that I've had other girlfriends?" he probed again. You looked away and scowled. "It's because you're comparing yourself to them, right?" Bingo! He had hit the nail on the head. Your facial features softened from a scowl to a more resigned look, and you shifted your gaze back to him despondently. He gave a little huff of amusement. I knew it, he said, leaning in and kissing your forehead. Let me finish my original sentence, which was going to be, but you're so different from the rest. You rolled your eyes again and pushed him off. Ugh, so cliché, Dabi. No, but I'm serious. You're just so genuine, he said as he picked up a stick and lobbed it towards the fire. I'll let you in on another secret. I've only had 3 serious girlfriends. Only 3? You said, surprised that it was such a small number. I thought you had like 20. Dabi snorted. Yeah, most people think that because there's always some girl hanging around me. I've been labelled a lot of things, and a lot of those things I'm not, he said stiffly, as he pulled himself into a sitting position and gazed into the fire. I've had a lot of flings, one-nighter type things. I'm generally only attracted to someone physically. I just don't go for the whole dating thing. So why me? You asked, gazing at him as you sat with your arms crossed over your knees. He looked over at you, his turquoise eyes studying your features. He reached a hand out to you slowly and caressed your cheek. I don't know, he said, running his thumb over your cheekbone. Like I said, you're different. You get me. I feel really comfortable around you, he said gently as he leaned in as if to kiss you, his lips barely meeting yours. And plus, you've never had a guy before. You're a clean slate, and I can paint you any way I like. And there ends Chapter 7. Stay tuned for Chapter 8 coming tomorrow. I'll see you then.